afternoon, freaks. I'm here to give Scorpio a bonus read straight from the hip with lots of lip for being the highest views on the read we did back in December and really just leaving everybody else in the dust. I have to hand it to Scorpio. You were like the dark horse that crept up behind and caught everybody by surprise. So I promised a bonus read for all of you, and as well, Leo and Gemini will be getting those reads as well. They're the only three signs who will receive those bonus reads. We're going to be looking at your greatest victory in 2023. What is the thing you're going to be celebrating at the end of the year when all is said and done? What is going to be that like pivotal moment of arrival for you in 2023? We'll also look at what could potentially be a blockage and what you can do to head straight toward that winner's circle, free, unencumbered, unbothered, and just really basking in your time to shine. All right. So this is going to be for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, North Node. I was encouraged to bring in South Node since South Node is so front and center with the astrology this year, all the way up until July when the nodes change to Scorpio moving into Libra and Taurus moving back into Aries, right? So we got that switch in the nodes of destiny at that time, but it's very much foundational for how this year will unfold. So South Node, Scorpios, you also have a place in this read here, as well as anyone who has a loaded eighth house, a stellium, three or more planets in that eighth house of Scorpio, or even a strong placement like one of the ones I just mentioned. We are going to dive into this read. Do be aware it is a collective read, so a lot of energies in play, a lot of different stories are going to come in, engage your intuition, and that will help you best determine how the overarching themes are speaking to you. Flip-flop roles as you need to. Cross-watcher energy certainly can come into play. So, you'll know who it's speaking about in your situation when certain characters get pulled into the mainframe. Above all, listen to how you're being guided. You are the one who is going to know how the messages are speaking to you. All right. And I will have timestamps put out so you can skip ahead from this portion. Also, so you can skip ahead in the shuffling. I want to just get like a good base of cards out on the table to work with. I am working with the Angel Tarot today is what was really calling me. I see right on the bottom of the deck here, we have the Lovers. Haniel, joy of God, joy and pleasure brings happiness to couples, removes negative energy. So right off the bat, I think we have a story unfolding as the basis of the matter here. You all are going to be stepping out of that time of indecision in matters of the heart, or where you felt like you just couldn't get on the same page with another. Maybe there was some kind of interference in your love relationship, some kind of outside intrusion or disruption that was causing some issues. Could have been there was temptation, could have been third party interference. I feel like you're being given the strength to overcome any challenges in the love department, and whatever was keeping you separated from a soulmate, unable to come together in that union and experience that joy, that pleasure of just sinking into the deliciousness of love instead of having to deal with all the drama on the periphery. I think you're really going to find that all the stagnation is going to be cleared away. You're going to come to a place of decisiveness. I think you're going to finally know what you want in love. Maybe you had some questions about what you were really looking for. Maybe you weren't sure. Maybe you needed to spend some time just really diving into some of your past relationships, looking at your past relationship history, looking at the themes that have been playing out in your love life, and transforming those energies. I really feel like you're going to get a lot of clarity about what is true for you. You're also going to come to a place of understanding your worth, your value. I got big Empress energy vibes. just understanding what you bring to the table and wanting somebody who can meet you in that place where there's a real balance of power, a sharing of power, and maybe something was out of balance with the power before in your romantic dynamic. So I feel this is key. I feel that one of your greatest victories is finally coming to a place of decisiveness in matters of the heart and uniting with somebody who is your match. You know, you have a soulmate relationship front and center, and it's a beautiful thing. You get to experience the pleasure side of love, moving beyond grasping the thorns to experiencing the sweetness of the bloom of the rose. And Ted just said, ooh, gave his little affirmation. So looks really good for you. All right, we're going to just shuffle these cards. It is 6:16 on the clock. I'm going to just do a wild card read, and we're seeing what is going to be Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, North Node, Mercury, Mars, and South Node. What is going to be their greatest victory in 2023? Loaded eighth house coming in here too. All right. We have two crossing influences coming out here. I'm going to build the story a little bit. I want to bring some other cards into the mix. I feel really called to do that. So we're going to just set those aside. We'll do some verification, classification, confirmation with those cards. All right. Yeah, I do think you had some outside interference. We have the fox here. So that's always something was camouflaged, you know, something was happening behind the scenes. In the love department, I got a few different stories coming in here. Some of you were involved in clandestine situations. Maybe you were, you know, seeing somebody behind the scenes. There was some reason why you needed to keep this connection a secret. I feel like some truth is coming out about this with this rooster crowing in the background there, okay? I don't think that this will be hidden very much longer. Something's going to come to light. There may also be illumination around somebody that's been interfering in your relationship or otherwise throwing an obstacle in your path in matters of the heart. I think this is getting uncovered. This is kind of like the basis of the matter and what you're coming out. And I think there's some big truth that's going to be spoken in this regard. And it's that truth that sets you free. It's what makes things very clear in matters of the heart. I feel like where you were involved in kind of a clandestine situation, maybe a secret love affair for those of you who, you know, indulged a little bit in the shadow side. I think that, you know, you kind of learned some lessons in that regard. I think that maybe you were promised a lot, you know, you were really taken in by this person. They come off, you know, rather kind of cocky, you know, like they're working with something. They said they'd be brave, that they'd show up, that they'd claim you, and it just kind of like never happened. You felt like you were just sitting, waiting around for a whole lot of nothing. I think that you realized there are certain ways that you've sabotaged yourself in love in matters of the past in this way, you know, and that you'll be taking a different approach in the future, maybe being more upfront about your desires, what you want, requiring people to also be above board with you. I think in that situation, if you were involved with something like that, where there was a third party influence or some need for you to keep your relationship hush hush, I think you began to feel really not valued in this situation. You just felt like you weren't being appreciated. You know, it wasn't being claimed. This deep soulful connection, you know, all this pillow talk, you know, in those moments when you were together, like it wasn't being claimed in a way that was like above board, you know, where everybody could really know that, yeah, this is your person, this is who you're building with, this is who you're in love with, and they're in love with you. And so there was a little piece about like not really feeling like you were getting your flowers, feeling like you were sort of being sidelined. And I think through this process, you started to do a lot of work on yourself and just asking yourself, like, why? You know, why did I settle for this? Like, what part of me allowed myself to be kind of put on the back burner, put on hold like that? 10:10 on the clock. I think you ended an old cycle, and you're ending an old cycle this year. It has you stepping into a whole new reality. You're ready for your new beginning. And because you're closing this old cycle, you come to a place knowing your worth, knowing your value, know what you bring to a relationship, and being ready to be met on that level that you step into a brand new beginning in 2023, and it brings you a lot of blessings. But it's something that's definitely manifesting first within before it is evident without. All right. So this is some really beautiful energy coming in for you all. Now, in that first pass of the cards I did, ooh, these just flipped up. All right. I'm going to take these. Very interesting. All right. Very interesting. All right, let's dive into this, okay? Let's dive into this and look at this first. So, first thing I'm going to look at are these angel cards, and it is 11:12 on the clock. So this is when we're actually diving into the reading. We got the Ten of Swords, okay? The Ten of Swords is talking about ending that cycle, ending the old cycle. And this is Ten of Swords, Luia, the marvelous God, revelation, protects from sadness, gives revelations in dreams. All right. So I feel like it's very important for you to pay attention to your dreams. Really, maybe keep some kind of like notebook by your bedside. So when you have dreams, you wake up from, you don't lose the download that came in. You don't lose the guidance that came in. 11:55 on the clock when I said that. I feel like you're going to be having a lot of spiritual guidance coming in for you. And when I say spiritual guidance, don't let that throw you off if you're not a quote unquote spiritual person. In other words, if you don't prescribe to any kind of spiritual belief per se, you have your higher consciousness, coming front and center. There is important information coming through for you in your dreams that will give you insight about the changes you need to make in your life, what you need to release so you can move forward in an empowered way. And any kind of remaining healing work you're doing, like old clearing out work from this connection, that is kind of hanging over you, this sort of energy of not really being valued in matters of the heart, kind of being put on hold. I feel like you are really going to be able to process those energies through your dream world. There's a lot of information that's going to come through. You'll understand what's been working more at a subconscious level that perhaps was a sabotaging influence for you in the past. So I see there's a lot of insight that comes through for you. I think you're also really having illuminated for you what's been keeping you in a place of sort of staying attached to sadness or grief, what that is about and the way that that's holding you back. So I really see you cutting the cord on this. Like you are cutting ties to grief. You're no longer going to stay in this space of sort of looking back over what happened or the way you were hurt. I feel like you're just kind of like, it's a big giving up the grudge energy, sort of like looking at the opposite side of that. What a gift it is to be free of that energy so you can move forward unencumbered. And the other crossing influence that came in reverse is judgment, amamia, God hidden in darkness, atonement of errors, destroys the power of enemies and humiliates them. But it's in reverse. Do you see what I'm saying? And this is a crossing influence. And I was just talking about giving up the grudge, moving forward. And I think this is one thing that maybe has been sort of a sabotaging influence on your path. Something that's held you back is you just couldn't let go how dirty you were done by that past person. All right. It's something that's still kind of like in your energy body. And so it's imprinted there and it has an effect on how you move forward. It can cause complications in what could otherwise be absolutely wonderful relationships just because you got this old energetic charge that you're still like feeding off of, and then you bring that quality into new connections and it can sabotage what could be a wonderful thing. All right. I think you're going to be able to sort of uproot this pattern. It's something that's becoming illuminated for you. And a lot of this information comes through in your dreams. Okay. And I think you're going to give up the grudge. I feel like you're going to let it go. You're going to choose instead to be happy. This is about you coming into alignment with your true purpose, which is in 2023, It's about you being happy. It's about you feeling fulfilled. It's not about you putting your life on hold. It's not about you settling, accepting less than the best, anything like that. You are ready to fully step in to the enjoyment of the result of all the growth you've been through, all the work you've done on yourself, all the healing, everything you've been engaged to start to free yourself from these old cycles. You're going to get your flowers, you're going to get your appreciation, and you're going to do that by letting go of the load you've been carrying, which is the grudge. Anytime we're like looking back at how somebody did us wrong, and we're trying to think of, you know, well, I'm going to make them sorry for treating me like that, or, expecting to somehow, get even, or make them feel as foolish as they made you feel. We really just keep ourselves stuck in a holding pattern. It doesn't serve anybody. So I feel like the wisest judgment for you to move forward towards your blessing is to really release this, just let go of the need to get even. Take the medicine from the experience, take the lessons you learned, the lessons in learning how to really value yourself, appreciate yourself, love yourself enough to know that when love is no longer being served at the table, you get up. You get up. You don't sit and wait around for a cold meal, right? And then you don't turn the tables and like try to serve up a dish cold by getting some revenge for how you were done dirty. It's really about not allowing yourself to become entangled and enmeshed in that kind of energy, because I feel like you've recognized that this in and of itself is a sort of illness. It's an illness that blocks your power when you're in this kind of codependent dynamic where you got kind of like a pick me energy, or where you feel like you have to compete for someone's attention, or that you have to somehow go above and beyond to even just be recognized, acknowledged in the connection. So there's some piece of this where in the past, in your love relationship, there was a lot of imbalance of power. And maybe you were the one who was really trying to nurture the relationship. You were really trying to give your all to, get this thing moving in a positive direction. But you felt like you were always held back. And in some cases, this also could have been dealing with somebody who maybe had some mental issues. You might have been dealing with somebody that, as much as you may have wanted to connect with them in this meaningful way, they can't meet you there. They're struggling with certain issues that only they can overcome. And I'm really feeling this kind of coming through as depression. Somebody's struggling with depression and yet refusing to do what's necessary to get the help to pull themselves out of that space. Maybe you became somewhat of a caretaker in that situation. Maybe you overextended yourself and you felt obligated to stick around. But I think there's an awakening and awareness that I can't pull myself back. Like I have to live my life, and I can't tend to this person because at a certain point it becomes enabling. And then I need this person to be able to find the strength within themselves to rise to the challenge and do what needs to be done for them to secure their own healing. Maybe this is a situation that there's actually been some separation in. I see in a case like that this person probably did get help. I am getting the impression that there's maybe some kind of rehabilitation involved in their situation. I think that they've been on a long journey themselves. With this ostrich energy here, I feel like there was no more putting the head in the sand. Like there was a need to look at things as they are, face the facts. I think this person is in a process of finding their own direction in life. I think they got lost there for a while. But they are doing some important healing work, and this energy will turn around. I also feel like in the meantime, you got a whole new cycle opening up for you. You are opening up to brand new things. You are off to new horizons. I also think that you've really found a sense of home. 2023 really has you finding your place of belonging, where you belong in the world and who belongs in that world with you. And I feel like there's this real kind of long, unusual, kind of curious trip to finding your way there. Maybe you head off in a certain direction and it takes you on this sort of wild journey, and where you end up at the end of 2023 is somewhere you never could have anticipated, last year yourself to be. So there's some real victory in this. And a lot of it for you has to do with freeing yourself from past cycles in relationships. And I feel in particular a past person, okay, with the lilies here. There's definitely change in this situation. With that unicorn in the background, again, I have this feeling that there was a lot of magic in this connection. I do feel it was like a third party element involved. And I think there's a lot of fond feelings for this person. You're always going to remember the special times you shared with this person. But I also get this kind of feel like peace be with you. You're lovingly releasing this energy. You're ready for a change in your life. And you know that it's time for you to move forward. And this for you is a really great victory in 2023. I mean, it looks really good. All right. Yeah, I think there was a lot of mischief and play involved in this connection. I do feel that this connection brought you into your shadow a little bit, and it was delicious to play there for a while, but too much mischief, and then you find yourself cleaning up a bunch of shit from all the, but hey, at least you got your house toilet papered, right? You're getting the stink of rotten eggs out of the joint. Maybe it ended up, turning a little bit malevolent there in the end. It started out as mischief and play, and kind of like, took a turn for the south. But you know that love is eternal, right? You'll always have a connection with this person. You got this eternal love here, all right? Love is love is love, and it transcends physical death. All right. So this is very much a piece of, just honoring the deaths in our lives, honoring the things that we have to release that may be painful to let go of, but that love, it's eternal, it's always there, and you were meant to share that love with that person for a reason. It brings some kind of awakening on your path that sets you off in a new direction. 23 on the clock. That is a big change, an abrupt change in your life. It may have felt like a really destabilizing change to have to release this person, but where it lined you up, you're realizing in 2023, this brings me totally into alignment with where I'm supposed to be, who I'm supposed to be with, and there's something really to celebrate there. And as I was going into all of that, so much synchronicity on the clock. Okay, 23, big changes that needed to happen. Okay, and also 2311 came in before that. This change brings you into alignment with another, and it's a beautiful thing. So I want to get you an overarching theme. We clearly have a love story for you in 2023. That is your greatest victory. This is the triumph over the lessons of the past. This is you really taking back your power, balancing the power. It's balancing karma. It's rising up out of the pain and what's held you back in the past, out of your need to settle the score or hold on to an old grudge, and just let go of the burden, lighten your load. And in doing so, you really move up into that Taurus North Node of destiny, where your visions get rooted of the kind of love you're ready for. 24 on the clock. This is about coming into alignment with your purpose. And that purpose involves another. And the two of you coming together is a beautiful thing. And it activates all kinds of new beginnings in your life. And I think you're going to feel just such a sense of homecoming in matters of the heart. That's what I really get. This is like also all of those things that were keeping you from uniting with your soulmate, which I feel is outside interference. And in some cases, maybe that was an outside party. Maybe that was somebody trying to interfere in your relationship. Maybe that was an affair, something that was kept secret. In other cases, it's all the old baggage you were holding on to from your past that was actually blocking you from fully coming into this beautiful love relationship on offer. And I see you dropping those bags. You're not going to be bag lady anymore, okay? Give Erica Badu's bag lady a listen, because there's definitely a message for you just in how to move forward in 2023 to really step into the full potential of this love that is on offer for you. And it was 25:11 on the clock when I said that. And that is big spiritual blessings all over this coming into alignment with another. This is like destiny, all right? This is you transformed your fate into destiny. And it was hard earned, okay? It didn't come easy. This ain't no Disney fairy tale, all right? You've really had to do a lot of work, a lot of release work to step into this place. And I think the beautiful thing is with this past connection, you're going to choose to like release it in a loving way. I recommend doing some kind of release ritual just to give that relationship and that letting go process the honor that it deserves. Maybe you feel like it didn't get the honoring it deserved as far as how important that connection was to you and closing things out. So, in whatever way is meaningful for you, I encourage you to create some kind of release ritual around letting this person go and letting them go from your heart, returning their energy to them too, especially if you were in a relationship where there were kind of like codependent dynamics or addictive tendencies in the connection. It can be so helpful to just come into your heart space and forgive that person. Understand that they're out where they're at on their path, and they can only meet you where they could meet you. And there's nothing to really regret about that. Okay, with this ghost energy here, this is sort of your overarching theme and the work that you need to do this year to really step into the blessing of this beautiful love relationship that wants to come in for you. It's about giving up the ghost, man. That's what it's all about for you. You've let this ghost of regret haunt you for way too long, It's one of those things where it's like, if you have regret, and there's something you can do about it, then it's time to do it, If there's something you didn't say that you need to say, then say what needs to be said. It's time to not let this haunt you anymore and step into the empowerment of knowing your worth and knowing your value and knowing your truth and being able to own it and embody it, to be transparent with it, to move forward in the world unguarded, owning the truth of where you've arrived at through all this healing work. And if it means facing that person and expressing your heart to that person and saying those things that you never got to say, then by all means do that, because it's such a key in transforming the energy. And it doesn't have to be about reuniting with this person. And maybe in some cases it will be. We do see a coming together, an overcoming adversity, an overcoming of that which has separated you from the love that you've wanted to experience in life. But I feel like, it's not the point, right? And it was 29 on the clock when I said that. It's not the point if having this release of regret around this old person, okay? And even if that does involve some kind of like communication, speaking of truth, clearing the air, it doesn't mean it has to lead to you coming back into romantic union with this person. It may just be that that's what's really needed, is for you to experience that. Maybe you never got to experience that in this connection before. Never before did you get to experience like really standing in your power and in your truth with this person and being very clear from a heart-centered place, not from a place of like wanting to come off like, oh, I'm not affected by this, it doesn't matter, you're replaceable, or whatever kind of posturing we do when a relationship goes south, when it doesn't work out, things we do to try to kind of like bump up our ego, make ourselves appear that, we're unbothered, all right? this is about being transparent, and it's that transparency and that vulnerability. It's what frees you. So whether you exercise that transparency with yourself and you really own the truth of your feelings, your emotions around this, why it's been so hard for you to let go of this old energy, or if it's a matter of you taking it to the next step and realizing, I can't just leave this unaddressed because I'll regret it my whole life. Stepping into your power and taking action and doing what you need to do so you can live a life with no regrets. Or even to just simply letting it go, right? Just letting it go and releasing it and saying, I'm giving up this ghost. I don't need to have regrets, because you finally recognize what that experience, all the challenges, all the lessons it provided, all the growth it sparked to you, where it led you, where it led you. And let me tell you, it was a building block to your future. It was the basis of what brings you into the love relationship that you're entering into now, whether that's you healing this connection, reviving it, reinstating it, and coming to a beautiful union that couldn't have been possible before. Not until you each did your individual healing work and owned your part in what went down. That's the thing. It's never just one person's part when it comes to matters of reconciliation. We always have to look at the role we played in those situations. So what I really see here is there's deep healing work going on in your love relationship. And there is a moving away from the past. An old cycle is being closed. And for some of you, this is leaving a past person behind, but it's closing things properly. It's releasing any kind of animosity or regret around the situation, and instead just taking the gift that came through that box of darkness that was given to you, acknowledging the growth that you've experienced and how this person really taught you how to value yourself and how to come to a place of really loving yourself at the end of the day. And it's because of that that you're going to be able to receive the love that's coming in for you now. You couldn't have received it otherwise. So there's no need for regret, right? And for others of you, this is, not regretting the challenges you went through in your relationship with your person, because it's allowed both of you to take personal accountability, do the work, own your shadows, own, how you were letting the ghosts of relationship past haunt you in your connection. And now that was just always kind of this wall you would bump up against in your connection that kept you from going to that next level with each other. And I see you going through and breaking through the other side of that in 2023. However that manifests for you, that old cycle is coming to a close. You're giving up the ghost. You're giving up regrets. And it's the very thing that frees you into the kind of love you've been looking for. And it's a beautiful thing. I'm going to go ahead and do a cut of the deck energy on this as well. Yeah. Spider, community, and web weaving. All right. So I feel like this is also something really beautiful that is coming in for you. Oh my goodness. Look at this. This is so gorgeous. And on the other side, what do we have? We have forgiveness. So I feel this is really important, this forgiveness piece. And I love this forgiveness card, okay? Because on this forgiveness card, it says releasing the burden. And that's what we've been talking about in this read. This is the year that you let that shit go. This is the year that you finally experience the lightness of being from leaving all the baggage behind, giving up any need to get even, giving up the grudge, giving up resentment. You're just letting it all go. And when you do, you get to see what's on the other side of those thorns that you grasp, right? You get to see that sweetness of the bloom. You get to receive the rose, And how does the rose come in? Look at the hand. That hand is open. It is soft. It is receptive. It's not clinging onto anything. It's not holding on to anything. It's not holding on to anger. It's not holding on to fear. It's not holding on to regret. It's not holding on to an old vision of how you thought things should be. It's just open and free and trusting and relaxed and receptive. And I see that this is your greatest victory in 2023. You're moving out of this contracted space. You're moving out of this place where you held on to things so tightly because you felt like to release them was in some way a failure. In some way it meant that you didn't win. And I don't know where this is coming in, but maybe you felt like you were in sort of a competitive situation. But it's through letting this go that you receive everything. You receive that rose. You receive that love that's been there for you all along. It's just you wouldn't let go of what was blocking its way of coming in for you. And as you do this, I feel that not only do you get that love that you've been looking for, but it opens up so much more for you. This is like moving out of the webs of illusion, moving out of the web of deceit, whether that deceit was spread by others around you and that caused conflict in your love relationship and gossip got in the way, or other people's opinions, other people's ideas about your connection got in the way, or whether this is ways you cast a web for yourself by being led into temptation, going in a direction that you knew was not in your best interest, and then you got all entangled in a big mess that you had to free yourself from. I feel like through releasing and through letting go of this burden, putting the bags down and coming to that place of forgiveness. And it was 37:11 on the clock, 10:11. Ending the old cycle, that's what a 10 is all about, brings the gift of coming into alignment with that 11 energy with your person. But I feel it's also so beyond that. I feel like it brings you into alignment in ways that you can't even begin to understand now. I see you finding a whole new community in 2023. You're going to kind of like find your people. You're coming together with your soul family, the place where you belong. Remember, we opened up with that finding that place that feels like home. It's going to be a homecoming for you. And from this place, you're going to weave your web in a whole new way. You're going to bring in so much beauty into your life, so much to celebrate. And I see you expanding your reach too greatly. Maybe there's some kind of wisdom that came forward for you through this experience you went through the healing work that you've done. Maybe you feel called to share what you've learned and you feel called to really share it with the greater collective. Some of you may even be looking to get into work on this level and build community around work on this level. Maybe through online, you might start to develop something online where you can share the wisdom of what you learned with others and give them support and help them understand that they also can weave their own web of destiny out of the painful experiences they've been through in the past, but this is you really coming to a place of creativity. And it's very much that Empress energy, moving from your creative center. And it comes from letting go of everything that was blocking you from stepping into that space, which is just hanging on to the old cycle, the heaviness of it, the shadow, the aspects that didn't see you, that didn't recognize you. And I feel like this is the year that you get your flowers. And it's a beautiful thing. Congratulations.